Let's go to Sophie in Worthing. Sophie, good evening.
Good evening, Daniel. I've been up against a powerful institution for quite some time, which obviously I won't name. They promised survivors, let's say, a certain redress to the point of 200 million years ago. We never got that.
Sorry, Sophie, forgive me. Survivors of what, if you don't mind me asking?
Abuse. But I don't want to, say so much that you cut me off, Daniel, because
I understand. Thank you. Yep.
So it's survivors of sexual abuse. I'd actually gone to court. There's not an ongoing court case now, and I won in the Royal Courts of Justice, but I didn't win any financial remuneration due to vicarious liability. Anyway, so since then, I've been really quite cross, obviously. I started dealing with this institution in 2007, and here we are in 2024, and I'm still dealing with them. I forgot about it. I thought I'll draw a line under it after the court case in 2019. Then they started paying certain survivors, just a few of us, a certain amount of money each month. So initially I was on that scheme and I was getting a certain amount of money, albeit they humiliate you and make you jump through a million different hoops. And my question is now, then that stopped, even though you're still in the same need as you were before. The big redress payment has never been made. And this, you'll know all about it, Daniel, probably already what I'm talking about. Anyway, so after that, it stopped for a bit, and then they said, oh, no, you can reapply. So I reapplied. They then said I needed more criteria to offer more criteria. My question, Daniel, is who are these institutions actually answerable? Because I started a claim in the small claims court because I thought, you know what, I know I'll lose, but it's worth it just to bring some attention to this. But that obviously was no good because they're really onto it. I can't even...
Sophie, I don't want you...
Any advice?
Yeah, I don't want you to name it, but I'm guessing this is a religious institution. Is that correct?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, and you've brought a claim in the Royal Courts of Justice and lost it.
No, I went to the Royal Courts of Justice in 2019. I won that. This is a subsequent to that. I started a claim in the small claim.
So forgive me. The case in the Royal Courts of Justice, was that against the... we can't be too specific, but was that against the individual who abused you, but not against...
But he was dead.
Right,
win it.
But not against the but the organisation wasn't held liable.
Vicarious liability.
Yes,
and he wasn't in the church. He was off premises.
And just so people know this, vicarious liability is the rule that talks about when an employer is responsible for things done by their employees or people who work closely with them. So what's happened in Sophie's case, forgive me speaking for you, Sophie, what's happened in Sophie's case is that the courts have decided that although the individual is guilty of abuse, the organisation that individual worked for isn't responsible for paying the money, legally responsible because it couldn't and didn't know about the abuse going on at the time. Now, a lot of people disagree with that, but that was what the court decided. Now, Sophie, I think I'm correct that the scheme you're talking about is a voluntary scheme now that the organisation has set up. Is that right?
And it's because the abuse took place not around him in his capacity as a minister.
No, I understand that. But the scheme you're talking about paying you money is a voluntary scheme that the organisation has set up.
They've set it up badly, and now, initially they were more generous, and then now they're
Sophie, let me answer,
and they're rejecting all the claims.
Let me answer your question. Because this is a voluntary scheme and not a legal obligation, and you're not going to like this, Sophie, and I'm very sorry to give you this advice. Because it's a voluntary scheme and not a legal obligation, unless the decisions they're making under the voluntary scheme are perverse, because they've still got to comply with rules of reasonableness, but unless the...
Oh, by the way, Daniel.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, they are perverse. You wouldn't believe it if I told you the whole story.
If they are perverse, you might have a claim for something called judicial review against the organisation. I'm not going to go into any detail about that now, partly because I'm not an expert on judicial review, and partly just because of the time we'd have to spend discussing it.
I understand that, but who deals with this judicial review? Who do I look for?
That's a separate division of the High Court, so not the one you would have used before. It's a part of the High Court called the Administrative Court. You would have gone before to the Queen's Bench division of the High Court.
It's just the money, Daniel, hey?
these things are often just about money, Sophie. They'll never put you in the position you should be in, which is the position of someone who hadn't been sexually abused. And I can only offer my sympathy, and I'm sure that of those who are listening to you, for the position you found yourself in. But all courts will ever do is money. That's how every single wrong gets recompensed by courts, no matter how inadequate money might be, Sophie.
Just amazing that they can promise you stuff, get away with it. They're supposed to be religious and Christians, and here you go.
Sophie, thank you. Sophie, I'm going to have to end it there, Sophie. I'm very sorry. I wish you luck getting it sorted out, and I would go and speak to a firm of solicitors that specialise in judicial review. You will find many of them. I'm not going to name them, but there's a very good firm that deals with this that's based in central Westminster. Sophie, good luck. I'm only ending because of time, and I hope it all goes well.